Hello, neighbor. My name is Robert J. Ray. I'm a professional counseling therapist and trainer of trainers. I worked in a mental health prison for 11 years. I have fixed a lot of broken men and women in my 45 years as a counseling therapist. I was born in Maria, Mississippi and graduated from the famous T.J. Harris High School in 1963. T.J. Harris played Brinkley and Jim Hill in football and basketball every year before that stumbling block of integration dissembled the black race. I ran for mayor of Meridian in 2021. I ran for governor of Mississippi in 2019. I'm Robert J. Ray, the man with all of the answers, every Monday at 4 p.m. Watch me on WeBelieve.global. Hello, neighbor. Welcome to the Robert J. Ray Show, the man with all of the answers. But before I get started on today's show, I have some happy news to share about my niece. Last week she was missing. Well, she has been found in Clayton County, Georgia. And that, calmed all of the family members down. And I want to thank everyone out there that tried to or did anything toward getting her back in her clan. So thanks very much. And wish you people well also. Now, this week's show is on franchise. I'm going to be selling franchise of the Organism Chapter 4 to 1,200 people that subscribe to my channel and help me get to the point where I was on the YouTube. So I'm a YouTube partner now, and I can make money on it now, and that was because of you people. And they said my videos was well received and that a lot of people like my videos on there, and it must have been true because so far I've got 12,047 or something like that, 1,200 subscribers, and it's still going up. So what I decided to do is that since you people helped me get to that point, and I'm going to give each one of you, 1,200 of you, an opportunity. I know Jesus, he had 12 disciples, but I'm going to go a step farther and get 1,200 disciples. Now, what are we talking about getting a franchise from? Well, my mentor, Ron, he created this process. And I'm going to have my producer put number 1 up there on the screen. That's it. Now, that was our training. From 1977 to 79, every Sunday, I was out at the Organism training, helping to train people. And it was from 9 to 6 p.m. every Sunday. And I was out there every Sunday doing this training. And it took 12 months to go through this process. But it's going to take you guys longer than that, because we're going to be doing it one session at a time. I'm going to train you over the internet. Every one of these sessions will be seen and heard by my franchisees over the internet, and they'll be able to do everything on this in this training. But you won't be getting it 9 hours. You'll be getting it 1 hour at a time over the internet. But you will know what to do, and you will be able to run your franchise. I mean, this is a $1 billion process here. I've been telling the people that in Mississippi, but they always put a pie in my face. They don't want to grow, and I don't know. That's a lot of different reasons for that. But every time I would send this process to someone, and I would send it to psychiatrists, psychologists, mental health counselors, or I sent it to a commissioner over the prison system, and they always send it to me. And not one of them, not one have ever got back in touch with me and say, well, I don't understand it, Mr. Ray, it looks good, Mr. Ray. They would never say it. And I know why it is, because they didn't understand it. They was thinking that they would get it because it had been so successful in the prison system, and had got those guys out of prison, and they didn't go back, and they knew it was something to it, but they was going to get it and then probably try to use it for themselves. But you can't do it. The only way you can learn how to do this process is somebody train you to do it. It's just like somebody give you a paper and it's written in Hebrew or Arabic, and you say, what is this? And that's the way this process is. If you haven't been trained to do it, then you're not going to be able to do it. And they wasn't. I know they tried to, and they wonder, where did this go and where did that go? But see, I'm going to train y'all to know where every piece of the puzzle fit at, and you're going to make yourself rich, and you're going to be famous for it. And in your city, you'll probably be the only one with the Organism Chapter 4 franchise, and you'll be able to make as much money as you desire, and you don't have to really do all of the process. You may want to do certain parts of it and specialize in that. So this is what this show is going to be about. The franchise is going to cost you $10,000, but don't jump up out of your seats. I don't have the time. You'll be able to pay that as you go along, and this is how I'm doing it. It's not so much as I want the money, but I paid $5,000 for it back in 1979 when I got it, and so it's only fitting and right that if you're gonna make money off of it, and it's gonna make you a rich person, which it will do, then you can pay $10,000 for it due to inflation and stuff like that. So put the next part of the process up there. Okay, now that doesn't look like much there because they're all together. But this is the basic alcohol and drug counseling. This is the first thing that you give your client when he comes in. If you're doing a group, if you're gonna do a group, if you got a group of drug addicts, alcoholics together, whatever, you do these didactic presentations first. Like the first presentation you would do would be the visible and submerged aspects of the disease of alcoholism and drug addiction. See, a lot of stuff happen up above the surface here that we can see. That's what you're going to be learning. But there's so much stuff that really traps the person is down up under here. This is what gets you. It's just like the Titanic when it was sunk. That's what we use as an example. When this Titanic was sunk, it wasn't anything up above the surface that got it. It was the ice that was busting those nuts and bolts loose up under the surface. And that's what sunk the Titanic, and that's what sank alcoholics and drug addicts. All of the things that's below the surface. You'll learn that. And once you see me doing it, which that's what I'll do that session, and on the Zoom or whatever channel we have, and you watch it, and then you're gonna have to invest in first is a whiteboard, a nice size whiteboard, so you can get all of that on there, and then you'll practice. I remember when I wasn't doing any counseling and therapy, and I was working for Head Start, and that's a school. We was at a school, old school, and whenever I didn't have anything to do, I would go up in one of the rooms upstairs at the back where they had a board, and I would practice putting these presentations up on the board. Some of the workers would say, "Well, we heard you up there, Mr. Ray." I said, "Yeah, I was practicing." And that's what you got to do, practice. And when you get real good at it, then it'll be just like it'll be a part of you, just like these are a part of me. The next one is the effects of ethyl alcohol on the human body. Yeah, the effects of ethyl alcohol on the human body. It tells what happens to you when you first take a drink and what it goes through, all down through your throat, in the time it enters your throat, down in your esophagus, on down in your stomach, and all of these things here that shows you what organs affected and what organ takes care of the ethyl alcohol. You only have one enzyme in your liver. Can you get to that? As much alcohol as people drink, you only have one enzyme in your liver that deals with alcohol. And once you wear that enzyme out, then it's hard for your system to deal with alcohol. So you're going to learn all of that. That's the effects of ethyl alcohol on the human body. Now, the third one, the symptoms and phases of the disease of alcoholism. You got the first phase up here, then you got the second phase down here, then you got the third phase down here. And it's about 37 symptoms that you go through. And you learn that. You learn that what's the first symptom is that you have increase in tolerance. You learn what that is. Then the first blackout, you learn what that is. Then you have sneaks, drinks, preoccupied, gulping drinks, avoid all of these symptoms. You'll be able to put it up on the board just like it is here and explain to the client what the issue is. When I first heard this session here, when I was working for General Motors at AC Spark Plug, they were getting ready to fire me, give me 90 days off. That's just like firing because you lose everything. You got your car and your home, and I had a home out in the suburbs of Michigan I had bought, and I would have lost that home. But the superintendent, who took a liking to me for some reason or another, someone said, Robert, if you go down to this Insight down in Flint, downtown Flint, and get in that program, I'll let you come back to work in 2 weeks. And that's what I did. And so when I went down there and got intake, and they intake me and took me in, and my counselor was Ron, who became my mentor later. He told me to go down there and begin by sitting in there watching that lecture. And I did, and they were talking about the symptoms and phases of the disease of alcoholism. I didn't even know there was a disease called alcoholism. Everybody in my family had it, but we didn't know what it was. We just thought we just liked to drink like everybody else did, but we would get in trouble with it. So they were doing this session, and they kept talking about increase in tolerance and first blackout and avoid references and stuff like that. Whatever they were saying, I had experienced some of those symptoms. And I kept looking around the room trying to see who was in there that knew me, that knew that I was going through this. It was an amazing thing. But that's how the first time I knew that, hey, it just wasn't my weak will and my weakness to drink and I was getting in trouble with. I had a disease and I didn't know about it. But now I knew about it. Okay, now you'll learn how to do the 6 dynamic steps to recovery. This is one that tells you exactly what you have to do in order to get recovery. People don't know about these 6 steps. They just think, I've been getting in trouble. I've been getting DUIs. I done got in so much trouble drinking. I'm just gonna quit. It doesn't happen like that. First you have to admit. First, you have to recognize that you got a problem. See, most people, they don't think they got a problem. They just think, I just drank a little too much and I won't do it again. But that's not the way it works. When you're in a drug addiction and a disease like alcoholism, you have to recognize that it is a disease. You got to recognize it is a disease. And then you got to you got to admit that you got it. Oh, I got this disease. Then you got to petition for help. Oh, I got disease, but I don't know how to heal myself. A lot of people try to heal themselves and cure themselves of alcoholism. But we give an example. If you had a bad appendix, and they say, and you say, we got to take that appendix out, otherwise it'll kill you. And you say, no, don't worry about it. I'll take it out myself. That's just how irrational it is to say that you can fix your own alcoholism disease. You can't do it. If you was trying to take your appendix out, the first time you cut it in, that blood spewed out of there, you'd faint. You'd kill yourself. You wouldn't know what to do. And it's the same way with the disease of alcoholism. When you try to cure yourself, you end up dead. And that's what happens when people try to get their own self off of these addictions. You can't do it. You got to have a professional like myself and others. And then you have to accept that, hey, this is my disease. I'm going to have to deal with it. And then you have to be willing, volition. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get over that disease, whatever it takes. Going to AA meetings. You might even have to start going to church. You might have to stop hanging out at where you've been hanging out at the club. You might even have to give up some friends that you've been drinking and drugging with for years and years. You might have to give those up. But whatever it takes, that's what you got to do. You got to be willing to do that. And then you'll come up on a conversion. You're gonna learn how to do all of these sessions. You're gonna learn this. If you purchase a franchise, you're gonna learn how to do that. This is the best process in the world, and you're gonna be doing the most good in the world if you purchase one of the Organism Chapter 4's franchise. Now, this one is called Attitudes in Recovery. Your attitude has to be in the right. The Black American race is the only race in the USA who do not have connate rational minds to pass down to their offspring, which means the black baby boys being born today will not have their precious gem to compete with all the other races for their piece of the American dream. Why is it that other races can enter the USA with little or nothing and in a few years have more than the black race? The reason: no rational mind. You have to have a rational mind to operate a business and make it pay. The Black and White Race Rationale by Robert J. Ray. Available on Amazon. Get your copy today. Welcome back. I was in the attitudes, and I forgot to do my commercial, but I'll get it the next time, because I get excited when I'm thinking about it. The attitudes is just saying what your values are, your behavior, your conduct, and what your interest was when you was growing up. Was your interest, was your family's interest in the alcohol? Was their conduct was to every weekend was to drink, play cards, and stuff like this? If that was the case, then this is what your interest would be in your attitude. But when you go through this session here, your client, he'll begin to change his attitude about his drink. Maybe his folks wasn't all the way alive and all the way there when they was trying to do this drinking and stuff. It might been reason that we haven't grown in this family clan. It could be that. So your attitudes has a lot to do with it. Now, the next one is the supports. When you coming off of any addiction, you got to have a support system in place. And this is the session that you do with the clients, and you go through it with them. And some things with the support system, it could be the church, therapy, could be a substance abuse program, any other thing that you start on your nutrition. You might eat right, because that's got a lot to do with your disease. But the supports and recovery is what this session, and you'll learn how to do this. You'll learn how to do it. If you purchase a franchise, you will learn how to do all of these sessions, and you're going to be expert at it. This is because, let me just hit these two right quick and tell you how valuable these are. Okay, this is the mental health one. This is, everybody's on a mental health continuum from 0 to 10. And anywhere on that continuum, most of us are down there, is on the 5 most of the time. We can talk to people and we can reason and discuss things, whatever, politics, the coronavirus and everything else. But if you move down in this area, the sick area here, and a lot of times we do when some come in on it, just like when my niece was missing, that gave us some bad mental health. But we didn't go all the way out. We didn't go down here in the straitjacket area, but it did mess with our mental health a little bit. Where is she? Where did she go? And all of this. And the ones that have experienced that, they understand it. The mental health to get bad. And some people, mental health gets so bad until they can't go back up to the normal area. Some women lose their daughters and sons and kids, and they never the same again. And they end up being down here and have to be put in a straitjacket, taken to an institution a lot of times. But this is a session you will learn how to do. And then one called Death and Dying. That's got a lot to do with people in the day. People don't like to talk about death and dying, but they have to. And once you get them in a therapy room where they can't run, then you can talk about death and dying. Because really, death is just like living. If you don't learn how to live, really, then you won't learn how to die. You'll be afraid, and you'll be scared, and it'll be all kind of spooky stuff for you when you're deaf and dying. But once you clarify that, then you can begin to let people know that, hey, death and dying is just a part of living and who we are and the way the infinite man created us to do. And that's the way, and that's what is going to happen. But the issue is to live, is to do some real good things for the neighbor and to get yourself what you want in this world when you're passing through. Try to make yourself wealthy so you can buy the material things that man create for yourself, and not just be looking to retire off of on a pension. You know, you can only do so much on a pension. You may be able to live good and feel, but if you could, wouldn't you rather be rich? And that's what the franchise is going to make you. Because outside of myself, there's no one. It may be one or two people maybe using the process for their own self in some parts of the city. I think one of my best friends in time, Colleen, she went to California, and I know she's working out there because she was good. She and I trained together, trained a lot of people together out at the Organism on Sunday. A lot of time it was just she and I there doing the training because Cynthia had some other things to do, and it would just be Colleen and I. And she ended up going to California, and I know she's doing well out there with it. But even if you're in California, you can open. I don't know if she opened up a Organism or if she is, because she's one of the only ones besides myself that bought a franchise. It wasn't a fourth sold, and I had the fourth one. So I don't know where the other three is doing. But when you get it, whatever city you in, you'll probably be the only one there with the Organism Chapter 4 process, and you can get all of the business there, all of the unaware people, all of the drug addicts, all of the alcoholics, all of the bad marriages, and all of the teens, which I'm going to cover those in a few minutes. And it's so much you can do with this process if you purchase a franchise in it. Now this last one is this is the biggie here. This is the God session here. Everybody always get knocked out of control with this session here. So it will be you'll learn how to do it. You have to watch me do this one before you can really get a grips on how you're going to do it. But you'll be able to do it once you get it. So this is the say. Now, reason that those didactic presentations is so valuable and important. This is how I got those guys out at the prison. You know, once I took them through all of those, once they sit in there and watch one of those didactic presentations, even though they are reading at a third grade level, they can understand it. They was able to understand it. And then they would be giving me feedback on the presentation I've given up there, and they would understand, well, Mr. Ray, that was how I was back then. And we would share with them points and action pieces that they should do in order not to get victimized like that. And they got it. And then once they learn all of this information about addiction and alcohol and drugs, then they were able to go on to something higher. And that's when the other parts of the process comes in. Will you put that the next one up there, Miss? Reaction recognition counseling. This here, after they've heard all of those didactic presentations, they know more than anybody in the world about addictions and alcoholism and alcoholic and all of this destructive behavior. They know all about it. So they are a walking encyclopedia on a disease of addiction and alcoholism. So now you're ready to take them into a higher degree. And that's what reaction recognition therapy is. And this is the first session that you have norms. This is what's going to carry you all the way through your life, and when you learn these norms. These norms, okay, the first session of reaction recognition therapy, listen to it. It says to enable the client to recognize alcoholism addiction as a disease, not the results of a weak will or mind. To help the client begin to internalize the above meaning. Every session you do will have a meaning and a goal set. After this first session, then you give them the norms. From 0 to 25, number one norm is to cork the jug. You don't, when you get up in the morning, you don't use any alcoholic beverages. The jug is corked. You don't open it up. Now you know. Every day you know what you're going to be doing because these are your norms. Up under that cork in the jug becomes alcoholism. And alcoholism is not just drinking. You have behavior patterns that go along with drinking. And that's what alcoholism is all of those patterns that you've picked up. And you have to watch those. If somebody come by to steal drink and say, hey, what you doing? Come ride down here with me. See, you got to say, wait a minute. Yeah, he probably going to get a drink. Yeah, I know he going to be wanting to drink. So you pass on that. And addiction. Some individual, you might smoke reefer. Well, he may come by. He might say, hey, come ride down there with me. I'm going to run down to the park for a while. You know he's going to be smoking reefer. So that's addiction. So you don't go. So that's a norm that you don't go. Then withdrawal. You don't ever go up in your room because things not going your way. You may be having a flare up, or you say, well, life is real dull now and sad. I can't be with my friends and stuff, so I'm gonna go up in my room. Don't do that. That's withdrawal. When you go up there and start staying in and by yourself, then you start the alcohol spirit start coming around you, trying to tell you, say, hey, anything is better than this withdrawal. So you don't get in it in the first place. So if you know about it, then you can prevent yourself from getting into it. And the last one up under the first norm is dependence. Do not become dependent on other people to take care of your addictions, what it is. You are the one that have to do that. If you get a job and you depending on your relative that stay across town to come take you to your job every morning, you can't do that. You got to make some other arrangement. Just what if he don't come one morning? What are you going to do then? So when you get to work, you got to be looking around and seeing if you can get somebody and say, hey, where do you live at? You think if I happen to need you, you could come by and swing by and pick me up? Or can you pick me up and take me home? And a lot of times, people are ready to help you. If you're trying to do the right thing, and you're trying to stay sober and clean, and you share that with them, then they'll be glad. A lot of times they'll be glad to help you because they know that you're trying to better yourself, and that's it. Now, norm number 2 is to be here on time. Everywhere you need to go, you need to be there on time. If it's at work, wherever it needs to be, you need to be there on time. Don't go in late. I worked at a facility for 8 years, 8.5 years. Out of the 8.5, I never punched in a second late. Can you believe that? That's phenomenal, ain't it? Yeah, but you could do it because those were my norm, not to be late. And that was everyday thing, not to be late. And I was never late. Financial. Always be aware of how much money you got to work with and what you need to do with that money. And then that's taking care of your financial. And then you'll be able to use the money that you got, you're working for, and you'll be able to take care of your financial. That's a norm that everyone needs to be aware of and take care of, your financial. And this is what that's why I know that you'll pay me when you buy a franchise, and you pay on piecemeal, not just all at one time. Some of you can pay it all at one time, but a lot of you maybe not. But once you get this norm, I know that you'll be paying something on it. And we're not going to be holding a gun to your head to get you to pay. You'll pay if you want it. Then the fourth norm is a high protein breakfast. Always get up in the morning and eat, because you got to raise your blood sugar level up. You done slept out and your blood sugar level is down. And now you got to eat something to raise your blood sugar level up. And so you ready to go. You ready to tackle the day, the morning. And this is what you know. I've been using these same norms for over 40-some years, since 1975. And they've kept me my eye on the prize. And I've stumbled a lot during that time. But as long as I knew I had these norms, I was up and at them the next day. And then the fifth norm would be your assignment. Whatever you've given yourself to do, or whatever someone else has given you to do, then you have to do that. Then you know what your assignment is. So this is just part of what you're going to be learning when you get your franchise. And I'm going to be doing it all over the internet. And you'll be able to get it just like you was there if you was in the classroom sitting for those 9 hours. You're going to be just a rational counselor, and you're going to be a successful, and just like it was if you would be sitting in the classroom. Now, if you would like to book a counseling session with me, go to the organismchapter4.com, and all my books are available on Amazon.com. We'll be right back. Y'all niggas was born into a faith-only religion. Baptist, Methodist, Holiness, or Catholic. But y'all have one thing in common, believing that faith only will save you. Y'all were taught to believe that Jesus died on the cross for your sins, and y'all bought into it without questioning whether it was genuinely true or not. Just because your parents introduced you into it. But don't blame them so much as the false preachers who preach this false Nicene Council 325 AD doctrine. The Nigger's Holy Bible by Robert J. Ray, available on Amazon. Get your copy today. All right, neighbor, let me finish up the first session of the RRT, Reaction Recognition Therapy. So the first session, you would place the word alcoholism up on the board, and you would ask them, what picture comes in your head? What do you dislike about it, alcoholism? What do you like about alcoholism? What is another word you might substitute for the alcoholism? See, you asking them questions. Now they giving you feedback. See, you don't learn them all that stuff in the basic. Now you're getting them to be able to bring you some stuff back that they can see and coming out of themselves. So this is what the first session. Now it's 12 of these sessions here, 12 of these sessions, and they got different things, but it's all about recognizing something and reacting to it. That's what they're going to be doing. And then you take a break, and then we do an exercise called the fishbowl, where you put half of the group on the inside and let them talk about the session, and then you let the other half watch one particular person. And that person that they watch, they're going to give feedback on what that person did and what that person said, and not interpreting out of their own mind. I think they were thinking this or saying it. You're just going to be just like a video camera, just like that camera is getting what I'm doing. It's not interpreting what I'm doing. It's just showing what I'm. That's what that would be, fishbowl. And you get so much awareness out of those clients when you do that. 12 sessions, RRT. Okay, put the next one up there, this producer. Personal adjustment therapy. This is 24 sessions here. And you got your norms. Everything from here on out will have, first thing you'll do is take the norms at the beginning of every session. This first session here is to enable the client to discover through 2 specific exercises that if he or she moves, he or she can find relief. This is the basic tenets of his recovery program. Constructive action equal recovery or success. You can put success there for the word recovery. If you're doing anything else in your life and you use this process and these exercises, you'll be successful. There's no doubt about it. You'll be successful. Okay, session 1 would be, in the PAT, would be personal adjustment therapy, this similar exercise. We just simply ask everybody to look around the room and pick out the person they think is most similar to them. And then when they do that, then you go to that person, and then y'all talk about why y'all are similar. Then we have those 2 look around the room and see who you think is most dissimilar to you. And then when they pick them out, they go to them, and then they start discussing why they are dissimilar. And then after that, we have each one of them give their life story, their autobiography, in 2 minutes. Then you say, well, I can't tell my life. Most of the time, you'll be done talked up your 2 minutes, and you be done finish your life story, and you in the 2 minutes or 3 minutes is not even up yet. so you can do it. But the issue is not so much of telling all your life story. It's the fact that they move. Like when you got a bunch of strangers coming in, and that's what you have in the first session of PAT, you done brought a whole group of people together. They don't know each other. And now they've come together and they found out that, hey, I'm kind of like you, I was like this. But it really, what you're trying to get them to see is that the movement is what got them comfortable. Now everybody's comfortable, and you can start going on with the session. You can do your next session. And now you got 24 sessions of this to do. And I'm gonna do every one of these sessions with a client population that you will be able to observe and see what I did, and you'll be able to practice doing that. And that's all you gotta do. Practice. And when you do PAT, you do learn how to do these 24 sessions of PAT, you'll know then that you got a process that's second to none. There's nothing in the world like it. When they did an evaluation of this process when Ron first developed it and started using it at Insight down in Flint, Michigan, they had a group of experts go through this process and evaluate it. When they evaluated, they said that this process was 20 years. You hear me? 20 years ahead of anything that was out there then. And that was in 75. But I think now it's probably 30 years ahead of anything, because I haven't seen anything since I went through this process. I hadn't seen any process anywhere that could do what this process can do. And you'll see that. When you begin to see it, you'll say, nah, ain't nobody else got anything like this. That's why people would never get back with me. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to do the process, and it just knocked them out of control. So they just put it aside, never said, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Personal adjustment therapy. Put the next one up there, Mr. Producer. This one is life adjustment therapy. Now what this does, it takes everything that they've learned in personal adjustment therapy and begin to get them to see that they can put it in their life, their real life out there in the world. And this is where the client begins to grow. Don't nobody recognize the individual anymore. The people that used to drink with him, his family, he's behaving different. He must be in a cult or something. He won't drink anymore. He don't smoke. He's eating healthier food. See, so this is what you try to do. Now, this first session, this is what, and like I say, every session has a goal. And the purpose of this session, the first session in LAT, is to enable the client to experience hope and possibilities through the process of committal to self and others, to enable the client to experience how he or she wastes and produces as compared to the skid row bums depicted in the film Fifth of Despair. This is more to move on during the next 6 months of therapy. See, this session here is going to show you how producing and wasting. And then that film, The Fifth of Despair, I don't even know if we can get it now, but there's a lot of films that you can get that you can show where you are producing, and then you can show where you are wasting it. Because people do it all the time. You can look around your family and say, hey, you're doing a lot of wasting of your time. And you'll see that it is. And so the first time when we see the film, when we watch the film, these are the questions we ask. What scene or picture comes to your mind when you see the film? From the film. What do you like about the film? This is art form. What do you dislike about the film? What would you change? Does it remind you of any other film? One word to describe the film. One feeling word to describe the film. What's in the relationship to the film? Why do you suppose we show the film Skid Row Bombs in it? Do you see the waste? Do you see the waste in your own life? Do you see productivity? Do you see productivity in your life? And once all of the clients say what they got to say, then you got the corporate mind working for you. All the other clients in there have learned something from each one of those clients about waste and productivity. Now they can see what they got to do. It's 24 sessions of this, and you'll learn how to do this. I'm going to do every 24 session with the client population so you can see how it's be done. And once you know how to do PAT and LAT, you're way over halfway there, and you'll be one of the most aware people in the world. You'll know more than anybody that you'll probably ever run into outside of another person who has the franchise too, like yourself. And one thing about the franchise, you can visit any other city and visit their franchise, and if they need you to do a session, help out, if somebody didn't come in sick and you visiting there, you can just jump right in and do the session because all of the sessions are the same. Every person that's got a franchise, every counseling therapist is going to be able to do every session in here. They'll be able to do it through that. So this is how come the process is so indispensable. We got to get as many people as we can to get this process out there. Because I'm 75, I don't look to be around for 20 more years at the most. And that's if I keep doing healthy stuff. So I'll be 95 then. So I might have to wheel myself into the therapy room, and I could do it then. I could do it from the wheelchair. But I'd rather have a lot of you people out there doing and helping me spread this all over the world. And it's just not in the United States where they need this. They need it all over the world. And you can go into another country and be the authority on counseling and therapy, make millions of dollars over there. And this is what the franchise is going to give you an opportunity to do. Buy your franchise for $10,000, and the first thing you have to do is become a member on my YouTube channel, and it's up there. I'm going to show you. You become a member, and then you qualify. If you've subscribed to my channel and you become a member of my membership on YouTube, now you can purchase a franchise for yourself and your family, and you can train your family members to do the same thing that you do, and then y'all can open up the whole business and run the whole business in a family way. Everybody know how to do everything in there. So this is something that you can be thinking about as you're doing it. Okay, put up the next one, producer. Personal life adjustment and therapy for youth. Like I told you, we cover everybody. I mean, this here is for the junior high and the high school students. And this is session 1. Listen, right quick. Session 1 in the sentence. Personal life adjustment therapy for youth is designed to supplement the youth's basic understanding of alcohol, the alcoholic, and the disease of alcoholism. In doing this, personal and life adjustment therapy will youth is also designed to provide a maximum opportunity for youth to learn how the others respond to their behavior, to learn effective personal functioning, and to enable transfer of their personal awareness to life settings. This is all it is to get teens to know how people react to their behavior, and they can adjust to it. Whatever they come across, they'll be able to do it. And you can do these at retreats on the weekend. We did a lot of retreats. We could call them in on the weekend, and they came out there, and we took them through these changes. Like the first session was the movement exercise, and then we had the norm: no leaving the building, no drugs use. Each person must be present at every session. The sleeping rules for sleeping only. Responsibility for damage will be sustained by the client. No smoking, and make financial arrangements, because you can charge for that. Parents will be glad to put their where they're going to grow at, and they're going to have the edge on any other students. That's a personal life adjustment for you. Now, put the other one up there, Will. And this is for preteens. Personal life adjustment. Now put the next one. There you go. Alcoholism prevention for preteens. This is gonna put these preteens a light year ahead of any preteen, because they're gonna find out about alcohol, the alcoholic, and alcoholism at that young early age. Now, the goal for these preteens is to enable the children to receive a basic education of alcohol, alcoholism, and alcoholic, introducing the youth to group process at a level geared to their understanding. This is you tone it down to where they are. The goal is the theme: I am, to enable the youth to become aware of who they are and to affirm who they are themselves. Youth discover that is a new situation. There is discomfort if they move or risk in the experience they receive. These little guys, they'll learn all of this. And the way we use it, we use the Green Monster X factor. We use the Green Monster X to come in to answer their questions and behave like a monster, but only a aware monster, and getting these kids to understand what they should know about alcohol, the alcoholic, because a lot of these kids have alcoholic in their family, their parents. Hey, you can't beat it. Now, if you would like to book a counseling session, go to theorganismchapter4.com. All of my books are available on Amazon.com. We'll be right back. Senator James Oliver Eastland, he headed up the U.S. Judiciary Department for many years, the highest judiciary committee of the United States of America. He was my guidance, my superior, protector, and mentor. He did show me how the slick communist Jews was coming into Mississippi and corrupting our blacks, who were only a few generations past being ignorant slaves. Slaves whom had been long supported with home, food, and upkeep until a war released them from so-called slavery into poverty, homelessness, and without assistance. We grew up together. Killer Killing by Larry Ellis. Available on Amazon. Get your copy today. Welcome back, neighbor. And I was telling you about the preteens, and see, and this is what's so great about having an Organism Chapter 4 franchise, is that you don't have to do everything in here. You'll know how to do it, but if you just want to work with preteens, you can do that. If you just want to work with those, that'll be your specialty. And all of the preteens that's in your city will be coming to get this process. Or either you work with the teenagers. You might just want to work with teenagers only, and to get them in order. You can do that. And then you always got the adult population, because they're the most addictive in everything. You can do marriage counseling and everything with them. So you have all of these opportunities to excel in the process. And I'm going to teach you how to do everything down to the minute particular. It'll be on the film, and you can watch it and practice, and you'll be able to do everything that I do from your own experiences and use them in your talk downs and stuff like this. Okay, put this one up. The comprehensive systemic racism prevention and systemic racism recovery training professional development process for police officers and sheriffs. I developed this with all of the police in the United States. Every one of them need this because we know that there's systemic racism in these police departments. I've been trying to get it down there in Meridian for over a year or two. And one chief of police wanted it, but the mayor didn't want it. So why? Why wouldn't you want to make your police department the most aware police department? It's 24 sessions here. Can you imagine what kind of police officer you had if they went through 24 sessions of awareness? If they had these norms that they would have, that they would start living by, you would have the best police officer. This is the extra in you getting a franchise. You have this. You can just work with the police station. You can become rich just doing this with the police stations around in your city and in your state. If you sell it to them, if you can sell it to them, you may be able to sell it to them. But in Meridian, you can't sell anybody anything. In Mississippi, they don't get it. That's why I'm not even offering a franchise in Mississippi. Nobody in Mississippi will be able to get a franchise. If they don't get it from me, then they'll never get it. And that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. So every other state that you live in, you can get a franchise. Now, you can get a franchise in Mississippi, but you can't use it in Mississippi. You have to make that stipulation. You can get it and move to another state or move to somewhere where some other people has got a franchise and maybe work with them. You'll still make a lot of money doing that. But Mississippi would not get this and would not get any part of this process. I've been trying to get them to accept it. They've been putting pies on my face, so that's it with them. They won't get it. But you can get it and make your city's police department the best police department on the planet. You'll be able to do that. Now, put the next one up there, producer. There we go. The most valuablest certificate you could ever get is a certificate. Once you earn this, you can say that, hey, you are something. You've become something then. This is why it's so valuable. Because the first star you get it just for going through the training, through the process. The second one, you get it for going through a PAT and LAT. But these third and fourth, you don't get these until you go through a client population. When I got those two, I had to go sit in that therapy room with the other two counselors and do counseling and therapy with this client population. And if you know anything about a client population, you'll know that the addicted alcoholics, they're the most they're the most ruthless persons to work with. Because if you make a mistake in there, they're going to let you know it. And you have to be on top of your game to go in. A lot of people that went through training, they never made it through these last two. They tried to. They went up in there and they let the clients run them out. But I did mine. I was determined that I was going to get that training, that process. And I was going to, because I knew then that this was the best process in the world. I knew it back then. So you'll get one of these certificates. Once you finish up your training, you'll get this certificate here. Okay. Put the next one up there, producer. Oh, now that's my son. What this was about is trying to get your family members recovery. Don't do it. My son, he came to live with me. He lived with me for 13 years, and he drank all the time. I couldn't get him off of it. but I was around him so that I could point it out to him. And that ship that you just saw up there was a boat that he went on, and that was perfect for alcoholics because they worked 28 days on the boat, and they pushed these barges up the Mississippi River. Show them the Mississippi River, producer. And he'd work on that boat, and they would go up and down that Mississippi River, pushing these barges all up and down there. And then they would come home for 28 days, and then he could drink. So one time after 13 years, I said, well, he done had enough for me. So he got drunk. I pulled him on a Greyhound and sent him up to Chicago to a program they had up there. I think when he got up there, I think he went on to the next city. He was still drunk when he got up there. So when I pulled him on that, so it was time for him to get out of the nest and go see if he can make it on his own there. And he's been up there for 9 years in Chicago. He's been homeless up there. He done worked in different jobs. Now he's working up there. He went to school, got his chef degree up there. But it was all because of this process. I couldn't give it to him like I gave it to the class, like I gave it to the inmates out there. But I could give it to him piecemeal. I could point out his behavior. Hey, this is alcoholism. Hey, you doing this. This is a symptom. And after 13 years, I done gave him as much as I could give him like that. So he went up in Chicago, and he's made it up there. He's made it. So that's the only way you can do it for your family. You got to be an example. You got to show them how you move. This is how you have to do it with family. Don't ever try to fix your family once you get this franchise and get the process. If they want to go through training and become a counselor, that's a different thing. But don't ever try. But I pulled him on that Greyhound and shot him to Chicago, and he's still striving up there. And that's a deadly place to be successful up there. But so far he's making it. The next picture, show that one. This is the membership. So you can get in any one of those memberships, and either one of them, you'll be eligible to get a franchise, to purchase a franchise. It don't have to be the most expensive one. It's different things you get in each one of those. So you can just become a member. If you become in the awareness mode, $39.99, you still are eligible to buy a Chapter 4 franchise. Okay, put the next one up. Okay, that is individualized counseling. All of that means is that you're going to always be dealing with two people. And the energy of existence is best described as an organism's capacity to open and direct with itself and others. So this is what you're going to be doing. I'm going to teach you how to do that. To be able to take two people, sit them down, and get them to share their feelings back and forth is a technique that you have to see to believe it. And I'm going to show you that when we're going through the training. Now, when I took this process and fixed the inmates out there at the prison, they tried to get rid of me. And they eventually did. They said that I assaulted a fellow worker, which I didn't. And they got 10 individuals to come down in court. They charged me with a simple assault. They got 10 individuals to come down and get up on the stand and lie and perjure themselves that I assaulted somebody. And I was really down. I say, why would these people do this to me? But when the prosecutor said that he had a videotape, that sparked me up. Now I say, I need that videotape. I was doing the case myself. They say you have a fool for a client, but I'm glad I did because I asked the judge to give me more time so I could look at the video because the prosecutor wasn't going to tell me. It was the idiot investigator that got up and said there was a video. When he said that, I knew that I had him. But they never would let me go to court. When I went down to, and they convicted me, the judge, I appealed it in the county court. And I had a judge's son who was a lawyer appeal that for me. But when we got to county court, the prosecutor asked the judge to throw out my appeal because it wasn't filled out right. Come to find out, in Meridian, you got two different kind of appeals. You got one for the whites and one for the blacks. If your appeal is gonna get you the win, then he has the judge to get you. I mean, it's just ruthless down there in Meridian for a black man. But I took that case all the way to the Supreme Court of Mississippi, and the judge over there, he didn't only go along with the last judge that denied me my day in court. He added stuff in there. He said that if Ray said that, what I told the guy, I said, since you trying to kill me by making me lose my job by lying on me, I'm gonna try to kill you by exposing that fake master's degree you got. They took that and they took it all the way down to mean that I threatened to kill this physically. And I took it all the way to the United States. Went out in New Orleans, they denied me down there. Took it all the way to the United States Supreme Court. Simple assault, a black man had to take it all the way to the United States Supreme Court. But they would never let me get my day in court. I never got my day in court. And the Supreme Court, they got going to look at it. So but my process took me all the way through there. And it kept me strong. Okay, throw that other one up there. That's my family. You see me? You see that little guy in my mother's arms there? Hey, I had my eyes open then. Hey, that's me. And that was my mother. She was a beautiful lady, wasn't she? I never knew my father. He got killed in Tacoma, Washington after he got honorably discharged from the Army. And he got stabbed with an ice pick up there. He was a bouncer like in a club up there. But my mother, she came all the way through. And that was my sister. There, she's still living. I got her on a lot of health and stuff. She's 75, and she's still learning. But my mother, I kept her alive 20 years with cancer. It took 4 cancers to kill her. And that was because I had learned how to get people healthy. And I met a lady over in Rainbow in Jackson, said that she had a cure for all cancer. She had gotten stomach cancer cured, and I found that, and I'm gonna give that to y'all too, the ones who get their franchise. But hey, you couldn't get a better process than this. You couldn't get a better business than this. And so, look, if you would like to book a counseling session, go to the organismchapter4.com. All my books are available on Amazon.com. That's all I got to share, and I'm anxious to move on. Hello, neighbor. My name is Robert J. Ray. I'm a professional counseling therapist and trainer of trainers. I worked in a mental health prison for 11 years. I have fixed a lot of broken men and women in my 45 years as a counseling therapist. I was born in Meridian, Mississippi, and graduated from the famous T.J. Harris High School in 1963. T.J. Harris played Brinkley and Jim Hill in football and basketball every year before that stumbling block of integration dissembled the black race. I ran for mayor of Meridian